Page 73 in your grammar book. 73. That's where we're at. Okay. 73. Oops. Goes there. Talking about a new opener today. This is number 6, which is cool because that's the last one. So now you will know pretty much all of them. We will talk about them again as we go in this book. But this is totally made up by the person that made this curriculum. It's called VSS Opener. And it stands for Very Short Sentence. Very short sentence. VSS. So it sounds kind of weird because we don't really hear about that in grammar, but in this book, it's teaching us how to add style to our writing. That's what we're doing in the writing part of the class. And the grammar kind of piggybacks that. So a very short sentence is useful in a story or in a research paper or in any kind of a writing that you do to add variety to your writing, because that's something that maybe people don't really think about is the length of their sentences. They just write the sentences that come to their minds, right? But now we're going to start paying attention to how many words are in our sentences and what kind of sentences they are. So this type of opener is really useful in making your stories and your writings sound better. So we're going to start by practicing finding it in the grammar books here. All right, so a very short means 2 to 5 words. And yes, sometimes you can have 2 words in a sentence. Not very often, but you can. And it is for dramatic effect in your stories. It's a little easier to do 4 or 5 words in a sentence, but a sentence means it has to have a main clause. And we know that a main clause has to have a subject and a verb. So you could have 2 words. She screamed. It has the subject she, the verb screamed. And when you're writing a story that has some drama to it, and you're writing, and you put she screamed, that adds a little bit of style to your writing, okay? So it's kind of fun to use it, but it does take a little bit of effort to figure out how. Okay, for here, this example, Robin sought adventure. So you have your subject, Robin, sought is your verb, and then the adventure is the noun. So this is a complete sentence, even though it's only 3 words. So here's a great example of a short sentence. It is a sentence because it has a main clause. Okay, so here we have, when we label it, we're going to label it with a number 6. And here's another example. The wet log wobbled. That's a strange sentence, but it's still a sentence. It's the main clause. It has a subject and a verb. And there's only 4 words there. So that would be considered a short sentence. So we'll be looking for those in our grammar. Now we're going to talk about run-on sentences. We've talked about this before, but a run-on occurs when a sentence has main clauses that are not connected properly. In week 11, we learned about what a fused sentence was. 2 main clauses placed in one sentence without any punctuation between them. That's a run-on error. But now we're going to talk about a comma splice. I think we talked about it a little bit, but we're going to talk about it a little bit more. 2 main clauses placed in one sentence with only a comma between them. This is a second type of run-on error. The easiest way to fix both of these errors is to place a period at the end of each main clause. So you're going to look for 2 main clauses that have only a comma between them. And then you're going to correct a comma splice by replacing the comma with a period. So it's pretty easy to spot and figure out how to fix. So capitalize the first word of the new sentence. Here, the original didn't have a period here. It had a comma. Robin noticed a log across a stream. The log looked sturdy. So it's two clauses that are put together with a comma. That's incorrect. So really, when you have two separate clauses with subject and verb pairs, you make them into two different sentences and put a period. So Robin noticed a log across a stream, period. The log looked sturdy. So basically, looking for that extra long sentence that has two main clauses that really needs to be two separate sentences. And that's when you take out the period. Okay. Down here, we've been talking about adverbs in our writing part of the class. But there are some imposters. I think I've mentioned them before, but here we're going to go in a little more detail. So an imposter is one that has an ly in the word, but it's not actually an adverb. Sometimes they're adjectives. So we have to be aware of that. Although many adverbs end in ly, some adjectives also end in ly. If the ly word describes a noun or a pronoun, obviously that's an adjective. That's an imposter. So when you're adding your ly adverbs to your stories, make sure you're not accidentally adding an adjective in the wrong place. So just watch for that, okay? But here's an example. The sturdy log safely spanned the chilly stream. All right, so obviously the adverb here is safely because it's modifying spanned, and spanned is the verb, so it's adding to that verb, safely spanned. But here we have chili, and don't mistake it for the chili that you eat, because this one has a Y. Okay, so it does have an ly, but this describes the stream. If you ask yourself what kind of stream, it's a chilly stream, it's an adjective. So don't underline that thinking, oh, that's an adverb, it has an ly. That's not always true. You have to watch for that. Okay, sometimes they're adjectives. All right, let's go to the practice page here. Okay. Find my plastic here. Let's see. Bronx, could you read that for us, please?
Me?
Yes, please.
Okay. Robin Hood roamed through the forest. He searched for adventure.
Awesome. And roamed is our vocabulary word, basically walked or traveled without a fixed purpose or direction, kind of like wandering. That's what roamed means. Okay, so we got that. Our articles, a and the, you can go ahead and mark those. And there's just one. So that's easy. Let's see. How about Paisley? Let's look for some nouns in here.
Robin Hood.
Yeah, and that's actually, we're going to go like this with a little bracket, because that both of those together is a noun, because that's the name. And there's two more.
Forest.
Good.
Adventure.
Yes, that's right. Good job. Those are the three. And then Abby, the pronoun.
He.
Good. That was easy. How about Abby? Go ahead and give us one of the prepositional phrases, and then I'll ask Bronx for the other one.
For adventure.
For adventure, yes. For is the preposition, so for adventure is the phrase. Bronx, do you know what the other one is?
Through the forest.
Through the forest. Yep, you got it. So through is a preposition, so the phrase is through the forest. Good job. Now we've got two main clauses, and remember the main clauses have a subject verb pair in their Paisley, do you know what one of the main clauses is in these sentences?
Is it Robin Hood roamed through the forest?
Yes, good job. So we're going to use a bracket. And then Abby, what's the other main clause?
He searched for adventure.
Good. Now, I'm going to kind of go out of order here a little bit because you're right. Those are the two main clauses. Now, we can skip over here because there's going to be two end marks. Remember, we learned that if you have two main clauses together, that a comma doesn't work there. It's called a comma splice. So where should I put the period, Abby? Where should the period actually go?
After forest.
Yeah, so we're going to do a little squiggly mark here to take out that comma. And you probably can't see it very well, but I'm just going to add a period right here. And then we obviously need a period at the very end. So we've got, I'm going to go ahead and check those end marks because I wanted to take care of that first. Now, we're on to subject verb pairs. So we're going to look at each main clause because there's a pair in each clause. So Bronx, let's start with the verb. Where would the verb be in the first clause here?
Roamed.
Yes, roamed is the verb. And then if you ask yourself, who roamed, what's the subject?
Robin Hood.
Yes, Robin Hood. Yep, you got it. So that's the subject verb pair there. And then Paisley, look at the next main clause. It says he searched for adventure. What is the verb in that clause?
Searched.
Good. And then if you ask yourself who searched, what is the subject?
He.
Yes, you got it. Woohoo. So subject verb pair is he searched and Robin Hood roamed. So we got both of those. Now we've got two different openers because now that we've split it up, we have two different sentences. So anybody want to take a guess, or if you know, what is the opener for this first main clause? Abby.
Is it the subject opener?
Yes, and I almost said it by accident, but yes, that's a number one. And if you have to go back and check, you can look in the back of your book. Subject opener, good, because the subject comes first, Robin Hood. And then Bronx or Paisley, do you know what kind of opener the next sentence is? Go ahead.
One. Or subject.
It does start with the subject, so that is a good guess. It does start with the subject, but it's actually the new one that we learned today. Remember what it's called, Bronx? It's okay to look back.
A vest. Vest.
VSS. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very short sentence.
Yes,
So
yes. It's spelled
yeah.
out he, I think.
Yep, it starts at he. So you were right, Paisley. It does start with subject. That was a good guess. But because the sentence only has 1, 2, 3, 4 words, it's considered a very short sentence. And that is in number 6. So I'm going to write it up here, VSS. That means very short sentence. That's another type of opener that we're looking for. All right. Now we've got the capitals. That one's pretty easy because we got Robin and Hood. And then we've got the new sentence here, he. Those are the 3 capitals. And we already took care of the comma. We took it out. Okay. Any questions about this practice page we did together? Okay. Okay, so your homework is going to be 76, 77, and 78. Pay attention for those sentence openers and that VSS. Just count if you have just a few words. That's usually what that, you can find those pretty easily. Yeah, and that's it for grammar. So good job, you guys. Let's go ahead and put that aside. And today we're going to talk about your homework that you did with hold on a second. The heart and the ox stall. So go ahead and just have in front of you the story that you rewrote. I know that Paisley typed it, so I don't know if you could pull it up on your screen or if you can print it. If not, that's okay. We can talk about it still. You need that, and you need your story sequence chart from the heart and the ox stall. And you also need a clean sheet of paper too. Let's see, what am I going to start with here? So just have all those things ready. Okay. I'm just going to show you, I rewrote this just for an example here. And it might be slightly different than the one we did in class. So this is obviously the story sequence chart. And I just wanted to kind of review a little bit with you about that. So go ahead and look at your story sequence chart as you're looking at mine, same time. And notice we have the 3 sections. We've been talking about that a lot. 3 main parts to the story, which is character and setting in the first paragraph, second paragraph, problem, conflict, third paragraph, climax, resolution. I know you have more notes mixed in here, but I'm just kind of giving you the overview on the story sequence chart. So really, the story is 3 paragraphs long, right? There's three things to make sure you cover. Now, part of your homework was to add to your story, to add information about the heart or the stable boys or the barn or something about the master. Part of your homework was to elaborate. Remember how we talked about that last week? So really, if you have more than 3 paragraphs, that's okay because you added a lot to the story. And as long as you're still following the same type of format, okay? I don't want you to skip around because then the story won't flow. Like if you started with the conflict and then you introduce the characters, it doesn't flow as nicely. So that's why you got to make sure you stay with the same type of paragraph as you write your story. And I checked with Abby and her mom, and they agreed that I can share her story with you guys so you can see how she worked on hers. And we can talk about how she used her story sequence chart to build her story. Now, I really like your story, Abby. I want to start by saying that. You're very good at writing. You have a natural ability to do that. You guys do too, Paisley and Bronx. I always enjoy reading your stories because everybody's a little bit different. And I see your personalities come out in your stories, and it's kind of fun to do that. So I just happened to pick Abigail's this time. I might pick somebody else's next time. But I like how I can tell she really worked on this because there's a lot of fixes in here. And like I said early on, I like seeing a messy paper, and that's unusual for a teacher. But it shows me that you're thinking about it and you're working with it. Now, I know Paisley did hers on the computer. She did like a Google Doc, which is fine. So I don't get to see all your changes as you go, but I know on Google Doc, you can just delete and retype and move things so much easier. And that's fine. And I'm sure you're doing your corrections as you go too, Paisley. And I think Bronx, are you typing up yours too? Or do you handwrite yours? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. You
Handwrite.
Yeah, you handwrite. Okay. So then I can see where you've changed things and moved things. And okay. So in light of that, I also want to point out that when you add your dress up words to your paragraphs, it's important that you just underline the words like the ly adverb or who or which. Sometimes we tend to want to underline the whole clause, but I don't need that. I just need either who or which on that. Okay, so she's got here, I'm going to go ahead and just read this. So we're looking for, did she introduce the characters in the beginning? Because that should be just the first paragraph is all about the characters and the setting. And then leading at the very end of the first paragraph, it should like kind of lead into when the mysterious stranger comes and offers a wish. Okay, so we have a heart who was absent-mindedly, I just love that adverb right there, absent-mindedly, grazing on grass in the woods, was interrupted by hunting hounds. So already she just like, I got to get this out of the way now so that I don't have to remember later. She got her who and her adverb. She even got in there an adjective, hunting hounds. And then she's even got a strong verb in there, which is something else we're going to talk about today, strong verbs. She's got grazing and interrupted. So I think it's a very powerful way to start your story if you already have those things in your sentence to start off. So she's introducing the hart, which we know is a male deer, and the hounds. The hounds, who were eager to catch the hart, chased him into a nearby village that was home to many farmers. Now here I already know she's added a detail because that wasn't in the original, but it's a good place to put it because it's giving us a little bit of a background about the setting of the story. And remember that first paragraph is focusing on characters and setting. As the hart was frantically running through the village, he found an empty barn. The barn looked very old and had red paint on the sides of the barn that was peeling. Inside the barn were a few gigantic stacks of hay. Other than that, it was pretty empty. The hart jumped into one of the stacks of hay and felt like he was well hidden. Unfortunately, he had no idea that his antlers were sticking out of the top of the stack. Okay, forget what I said earlier about the stranger, because my brain is mixing up the other class that I just taught before this one. So that was from a different story. So forget about that. Sorry about that. Anyway, she's creating this visual about this barn. I like how you added to the detail of the barn that was peeling. I could imagine that. She's giving us an image. And notice she used a lot of ly adverbs, and she even used several who or which clauses. She didn't have to underline them though. I only need one. So she took care of it right away. And now she can just use it as she wants to, as throughout her paragraph. And that was the first, I think that was the end of the first paragraph. Let me check here. Okay, this is where I wasn't quite sure, Abby, where your next paragraph starts. Oh, I see it. You wrote a note. I found it. Okay, so right here she has paragraph 2. So I'm going to keep going with this first paragraph. The hounds rushed into the barn, and shortly after, when their owners arrived, they began searching for the 2 stable boys. I can't catch this one. What is this word right here?
Sorry, that's heart.
Heart. Oh, wait. Okay. They began searching for the heart. And then this is the new sentence, 2 stable boys. Okay. So 2 stable boys who were brothers recently moved to the village. They came into the barn with some yard tools. Have you 2 seen a heart? Help me with this part right here, Abby. I'm trying to remember how this one fits in.
Let me see. 2 stable boys who are brothers recently moved to the village because they were looking for a job. They came into the barn with some yard tools.
Yeah. Okay. You didn't have enough room above. I get it now because you had to draw that little arrow there. That's fine. So you wanted to add more detail to those sentences. That makes sense. And I like how they were seeking for a job. That was a detail that wasn't in the original. And so you added that. And then does it go down to this part here? The hunters questioned.
It goes, have you two seen a heart? The hunters questioned.
Oh, have you two seen it, a heart? The hunter's question. Okay, got it. And so here you've got your second paragraph. So she's now at the point where they're asking, you know, have you seen the heart? And then the next part is the second paragraph, which goes into the problem and the conflict. Okay, so they glanced around, the stable boys glanced around the barn and shook their heads. And that gave an image of what they were thinking. The hunters then took their hounds and left. Okay, so I think what you're saying here is the hunters and the stable boys, are they the same people? The stable boys glanced around the barn and shook their heads. The hunters then took their hounds and left. Or were they outside the barn? Oh, okay. And maybe that would be good to put that in that sentence too, who were outside of the barn. The hunters who were outside of the barn took their hounds and left. That way we're distinguishing between the two groups of people. The hart, who was still hiding in the hay, began to start sneezing furiously. So here we've got some style and some like interesting facts about this story that she's added here. Sneezing, I wouldn't have thought of that one. And she's probably thinking being inside the hay. I don't know about you guys, but I sneeze when I get too much hay around. I live on a farm, so I have a lot of hay, a lot of straw. We have a barn that's full of it. And if I go in there and the goat barn, I use straw in the winter time so they can lay on the straw. But when I clean it out, I put fresh straw in there. It just kind of floats in the air, you know, and then I just start sneezing. And so it's probably what you were thinking, because it does. It makes you sneeze. So that's funny. Okay, the boys heard a sneeze and bolted out of the shed thinking it was weird. Some weird monster that made the noise. So here she's switching to the word shed, probably because you feel like you used barn too many times. And that's okay. You can change it up like that because you don't want to be repetitive. And that's another thing we have to be careful of. The master who owned the barn watched the boys bolt out of the shed and went to see what happened. There's still work to be done. Why are you standing there? He inquired. We were just taking a short break. Okay, and I like how she used inquired instead of said, because that's a banned word. Let's see. Neither one of them wanted to admit to their master that they had is it horse?
They heard.
Oh, that they heard noise. Okay, so let me back up here. Neither one of them wanted to admit to their master that they heard a noise which scared them, so they lied and stated.
So right there, I was trying to figure it out, like how to put that with what they said. So
Okay.
I don't really know I wrote that.
Okay, so you were still thinking about what they said.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they lied. So maybe we can help you think of something they lied. What do you think they could have said? Do you have any ideas, Bronx or Paisley, sorry, of what they could have said as a lie?
Maybe not finding it, or
Yeah. So let's think about that. If we were in a barn and we heard a noise and it scared us, but we didn't want someone else to know that. What could we, I see where you're stuck on that one, Abby. That is a tough one to add to. Maybe, they could say something like the barn was super quiet. So they lied and stated the barn was quiet, or the barn was still. And nothing made a peep or something like that. Obviously that would be a lie because they heard a sneeze, right? So that could be something they said. They could just totally say it was super quiet. There was no sound at all. Okay, so that is the problem now, is that the heart is hiding in the hay. And so far, nobody has discovered that it's in there. And then we start resolving that problem. And so here we go to the next paragraph. Oh, and you added here, the master then walked into the shed. And I like how she kind of led into the next part of the story, which is the climax and the resolution. So here comes the master, and he noticed two pointy things sticking out of the hay. And he also heard some silent sneezing. Silent sneezing. So maybe just little chew or something like that. Is that what you're thinking, Abby? Not a violent spit flying everywhere type of sneeze, but maybe just a little something like that. Okay. He whistled violently and shouted, "Boys, come here." The boys, who were still scared, came to the shed. "What's in that haystack?" he asked them. One of the brothers grabbed a pitchfork and plunged it at the stack. Okay, now you need to help me with this part you added right here.
Before the object could hit him, the heart jumped out of the stack and started running around the shed.
Ah, okay, so right before he stabbed him, he jumped out and started running around the shed. Good. As the heart came near, is that word near?
Yeah.
To trampling the boys, trampling one of the boys, the master was forced to kill it. From that day on, the boys learned that nothing escapes the master's eye. So nice. Okay, so we've got a twist here at the end a little bit. And that was okay because we were supposed to elaborate on this story. So now the master actually killed the heart in this part of the story. And that's how the problem was resolved. They found the heart, and the hunters, they left, but the stable boys were there, and they were brothers, and they were trying to kill this thing and they couldn't. And the master ends up killing at the end this heart. And then she's got the moral of the story at the very end. From that day on, the boys learned that nothing escapes the master's eye. So good job, Abby. I really like how you added some details that were your own that you thought of. I know you're still working on a couple of things in here. I did not catch any of the banned words, so you did good watching for those. And I just wanted to give you guys that example to try to help you to see how this works, from transferring it to a generic format here. You've got basically the backbone of the story as a story sequence chart, and then you add to the details as you go. If you wanted to, some of these paragraphs are a little long. You could break it up to more than one paragraph per part of the story. That's okay too next time. And as you're rewriting this, so the homework this week is actually going to be to stay working on this story. And by the way, let me ask you guys really quick. Do you know how to find my comments on your specific pages of your homework? Do you know how to find those? Give me a thumbs up if you do. Good. Bronx, do you know what I mean, Abby?
I know how to open the assignment and see what you said, but like, I'm not sure if I can see any particular notes.
Okay. I saw Paisley go like this, like kind of like maybe she's thinking the same thing. So I think I'm going to show you guys again. I know I made the video to show you how to do this. Do you guys know how to get into Google Classroom by yourself? Yes. Yes, yes. Okay, good. Okay, that helps. And then do you know how to get to your email that you have associated with your Google Classroom account? Yes, your email. It should be a Gmail. Do you know how to do that, Paisley?
What do you mean by that?
Okay, so let me see if I can.
I have a Gmail in my like email account,
Okay.
but
Okay,
I
let
don't
me
know.
see if I can. See if I can share my screen and show you. So like, what is your Gmail account, Paisley?
PaisleyJoy8@gmail.com.
Okay, and so, and you know how to log into your that email, Paisley Joy?
Yeah.
Okay. When you log into your email, this is the fake student that I created. You're going to see a lot of stuff coming in there from me. So anytime I put an announcement in the stream or anytime I post a new assignment, have you guys seen these emails before? Give me a thumbs up if you have. Yes, yes, and Bronx is nodding. Okay, so when you look at the list of emails, now I haven't opened all these just because it's just an example, but right here, this one says graded homework due week of 11/7. So when you see that word graded, that means there's notes for you to find. Okay, if you click on that email, you'll see this. Have you guys seen this before when you click on that? Okay. And then you click open here. And this is from one of my level A students. So I need to do this. I need to show you one for level B, but this is for the younger grades. But the format is still the same. So you'll see the name of the homework here, your instructions. This is what your homework should look like, or these are the instructions for your homework for the week. And then any attachments on the side here. And I usually attach the grammar answer key, so you'll find that there. But then, and this is where it's a little bit different for Paisley, because Paisley is using Google Docs. So I'm going to have to show you that next week, Paisley, on how to find my notes. But this will work for Bronx and Abby because you guys usually post a picture. If you select that attachment on the side there, that's where you'll see your picture of your work. You guys following me so far with this? Does it make sense so far? Okay, good. So when you open it up and right away, you notice there's no notes here. You see your homework, but there's no notes here. This is the next important step that some of you are forgetting to do, is up here next to the computer, the printer icon. Can you guys see where I'm at right here? There's 3 dots. Okay. And you have to open it in a new window. So when you click on open a new window, this is what I want you guys to find, because I've been giving you a lot of notes here on your, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to zoom in there. On your actual page that you turn in. Have you seen this before, Abby? Okay. Have you seen it before, Bronx? Okay, this is what I'm stressed about, because I've been literally sending you guys tons of notes on your work, and I don't think anybody's seeing it. And so this is what's really going to help you fine-tune your own writing. These are the types of notes that I put in here. So like if I click on my note here that says great adverb, it highlights what I'm talking about here. And he used the word, I think it was usually, or yeah, usually. This is a younger student. So, and if I click on this comment here, great choice here too, it's highlighting this word. So here I have a more detailed note. You have a small mistake here. Make sure to read your story aloud to your mom before you turn it in. Oftentimes you'll catch those mistakes, blah, blah, blah. So he's forgetting a word, or it just doesn't make sense right here. So I need you guys to please, 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 please find these. And today, like after class, because here's what you can also do. You can reply to me. Like if you said, I fixed it on my paper or something like that. Thank you. something like that. Now you can hit reply, and then that comes to me on the teacher side of it. I can see your reply. If you fix it, see how I hover over this check mark as resolved, and hide discussion. You can do that, and that will take it away. And so it shows on my end that you resolved it, but I still have to see how you fixed it on your original. So sometimes you need to turn it back into me to show me that you fixed it. Okay. And that's what we're going to do this week. We're going to stay with the same story, the heart in the ox stall. And I'm going to give you very specific notes, and I want you to find them. And then if I ask you to fix something, I want you to fix it, take a new picture of it, and send it back to me. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay, good. And if you get to your homework and you go, I can't find those notes, I don't know where they are, please message me, or have your mom message me on the Remind or something, because this is like super, super, super important. Once you figure out how to do this, you can go back like all the way to August and see that I've been making these notes on your papers all the way since August, September, October, November. I've been doing this, and I'm just like, it makes me sick inside to think that nobody's seen my notes. So you don't have to go all the way back, but you can if you want. But specifically this week, look for these notes. This is a big part of your class, to find my notes and see what I'm suggesting. Okay. And then Paisley, I will show you how to find yours, since you used Google Docs. I think it's easier when you open up your page like I did from here, from your email. When you go to open it, it should take you right to my comments. Have you seen them before, Paisley, on your paper?
Once, but I forgot how to do it. So
Going through your email is the way to do it.
okay, let me look right now.
Yeah, see if you can find it. It's really important. So I'm glad we're taking the time to figure that out. It's cool because we talk about generic stuff in class and we give examples and all that, but then when you turn in your work, like Bronx, I can go, Bronx, I love this. I love how you use this word. This sentence is perfect. Okay, this sentence doesn't really flow. So let's try to fix that, change this, move that. And then it's really helping you, because I can't do that during class time. But that's where it's super important for you guys to find my notes there. Are you still looking, Paisley? You can keep
I'm trying
looking.
to find the one that says graded.
Yeah, and by the way, when it's graded, oops. You'll see your score on there too. So he got a 10 out of 10. Usually you get a 10 out of 10. It's pretty easy to get a full credit from me. But if you do something, if you make like the same mistake over and over and over again, and I keep telling you, don't do this, and you keep doing it, okay, then I'm going to start taking off points. But I usually give full credit if I see that you met everything that I was asking for and you were trying to your best, then I'll give you full credit for it. So while she's looking, let me know when you find it, okay, Paisley?
I saw one thing that just said, please make it double spaced, but it didn't say anything else.
And did you go through your email like that?
Oh, wait, here. No, I didn't have to. It just showed me the thing.
Okay.
Here, I think I found it. I hit something and it said open. It says, oh, never mind. This isn't it.
That's okay. I think you're close though, but what you're looking for is your actual like page that you typed. Okay. So Paisley, how about if you stay after class a little bit and I'll help you with that, okay? I'm going to go on to the next thing. So what I want to do next, because we're running out of time, is I want to have you take some notes. So go ahead and get out a clean piece of lined paper. We're going to take some class notes on a few things here. We always run out of time, which is a bummer because there's so many other things I want to talk to you about, but it will have to wait. Go ahead and label your paper like we do with your name and date. Today is December 6th. And I just want you to skip a line and just put class notes. We're going to talk about a couple of different things that I want to have you put here. I want to talk to you about a strong verb. And a strong verb is a word that gives you more of an image of what's going on in the sentence. So I'm going to have you copy this sentence as an example. I'm going to have you skip 2 lines here under class notes. And I'm going to have you just write this simple sentence. The hart ran into the barn and hid, and skip a line. Okay, this is from our story. And it's a fine sentence, but it's pretty basic. So we're going to take a basic sentence and practice really making it better and making it have more style. Abby, you did this great in your story. You actually have, I saw that you fixed some things and moved some things to make your sentences really come alive. And this is going to be an example of that. So when you're looking for a verb, obviously there's 2 verbs in this sentence already. We have ran and we have hide. And those are basic words. Those are not strong verbs. They're weak verbs. So what could we put? Anybody have any ideas of what we could put rather than ran? Or that would be a better strong verb that gives more of an image of what's happening in that sentence. You think of Bronx, go ahead and tell me your idea.
Hurried.
Say it again.
Hurried.
Hurried. Okay, good. What did you have? What was your idea, Abby?
I don't know if hearts do this, but something like galloped.
Oh yeah, I would think so. That's very descriptive. I think of a horse, but I think deer do that too. Go ahead, and Bronx, do you have another one?
Rushed.
That's a good one. Okay, let's pick rushed, or you can pick whichever one you like. You can write either one. But what I'm going to do is draw a line through ran, and right above it, I'm going to pick a different verb that is more of a strong verb. Now, the other verb is hid. That's a harder one to replace, right? And it might not be just one word to replace hid. But can you think of another word we could use instead of hid in the pile of hay? How else can we say that? I'm thinking disguised himself instead of hid. Do you have one, Bronx? Go ahead.
Camouflage.
Ooh, I like that one. Camouflage. I like that. Do you know how to spell it? You know how to spell camouflaged? All right, here we go. Hey Siri, how do you spell camouflaged? Ah, she ignored me. How do you spell camouflaged?
Camouflage. C-A-M-O-U-F-L-A-G-E-D.
Telling you, spelling is not my forte. Siri helps me. Camouflaged, and I think we need himself after that to make sense, right? Camouflaged himself. I'm going to put it right here. In a pile of hay. Now we could take it a little bit further and describe the pile of hay. It could be humongous. Okay, how do you spell humongous? How do you spell humongous?
Humongous. H-U-M-O-N-G-O-U.
I was close. I was getting there. Humongous pile of hay. And now you've got more of a stylistic sentence that gives more of an image to the reader of what's going on in this story. All right. I wanted to give you more of this. How can we add a who which clause to this sentence? So far, we have the hart rushed into the barn and camouflaged himself in a humongous pile of hay. How can we change that now and add a which clause or a who clause in there? Any ideas?
The hart who was scared.
The hart who was scared rushed into the barn. I like that. You could add that there. Any other ideas? Bronx?
The hart who is terrified.
Good. Yep. Same type of who clause with a different word. That's good. All right. So I'm going to put a caret. I'm going to make it kind of big here because I'm going to have to write it up a little higher here. Who actually, in this sentence, the hart does not really have a personality, does he? He's just an animal. So it really should be which in this sentence. Remember, we talked about if it's a character like in an Aesop fable that has a personality, like a humanistic personality, then we use who. But if it's just an animal being an animal, it's actually going to be which. So let's make this which. Which was, I'm going to put scared, but if you want to put terrified, that's okay with me too. So we got to have commas around that now. So remember, when you add a which or a who clause in the middle of a sentence, you got to put commas around it. So the hart, which was scared, rushed into the barn and camouflaged himself in a humongous pile of hay. Now we've got a sentence, okay? And this is how I want you guys to fix your story, because we're going to keep working on the same story this week. Number one is you're going to go back into, and I'm going to get these to you today. So you'll look for them by tonight. Look for my notes on your paper that you turned in for this week. I'm going to give you suggestions on what you need to fix and change. And you go through and fix and change it on your sloppy copy. Like this, it's sloppy, right? And then read it back to yourself. Hand it to your editor, make sure your editor likes it. And then you're going to give me a final copy of this, okay? And you can either choose to type it or you can choose to handwrite it. I'm fine either way, but we're going to keep working on making this story great. And then you're going to turn in to me a final copy as part of your homework. Make sure you use your checklist. Your checklist will remind you about things like your banned words that you should not use. And hold on a second, let's see if I can find this. And the dress ups that I do want you to use, including strong verbs. So, here it is. I got it. I want you to use this checklist, okay? I want you to actually physically check it as you go. And I will take off points if I see words say, said, see, saw, or think, thought. You have to really work at coming up with different words than those. And then your strong verbs, get rid of the simple verbs, okay? Use more descriptive verbs of what's happening in the story, in the sentences. And you're going to underline one of each of these in each paragraph. I know you've already done this for your homework, but look for my notes. Change your title too, by the way. And I meant to point that out. Abby's title was The Master's Eye. I liked that because at the end, she talks about nothing can get past the master's eye, right? So she made that clever with tying that into the title. So I need you to have a different title for your story. And what else? Fixing anything you need to fix. Okay, so that's your homework is a little bit lighter because you're just basically working with the same story. Do you guys have any questions about that? You're good, you know what to do. So the first thing you're gonna do is wait till tonight and then look for my notes. If you can't find my notes, and I mean detailed notes, text me, message me, email me, whatever, communicate with me, say, Mrs. C, I can't find your notes, because I really want to make sure you know where those are. And then you can respond to my notes, you can reply to them. That shows me that you read it and you're replying. I like that. So make sure you reply to me. And let's not resolve them yet. Let's leave those notes in there just till we get used to that. Okay, remember I showed you the little check you can click and it'll resolve the question. Don't do that yet. Let's just leave the notes there and reply to me and fix the things I ask you to fix and then resubmit the homework the next week. Okay, and then your grammar, and you guys are good. Phew, all right. Well, I will see you guys next week. If Paisley, you're going to hang on for a second and I'll see if I can help you find that stuff. Otherwise, the rest of you are free to go and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bronx.
Next week.
You too. All right, Paisley. Were you able to find the notes after all, or are you still working on that? You're muted, so I don't know if you're saying anything.
Okay, I'm still trying to find them. I see a ton of things that you sent, but I can't find the one that says graded.
Okay, so let me go back into the homework. Let me find one. Okay, so let's look for, oh. I'm looking too, so hold on just a second. Oh, it's been a while since I've graded one of yours, or maybe you forgot to turn it in. Let me go back here to October. Okay, so here's a graded one. Let me just double check. I'm having trouble too, so maybe there's an issue here.
Yeah, because I see tons of yours, like the videos and the like new assignment and chat things.
This is an old one, so let me see if I can.
Yeah, but that one's written on hand. Huh.
Yeah, because you typed the last one, right? Let me see.
Yeah, I did.
Let me see. Let me go back to, because I think you just started typing them, huh?
Yeah, because it's easier.
Yeah, that's fine. So
Wait.
I don't, oh, go ahead.
Never mind. What are you saying?
Okay. I'm looking at, this is from 1114. If you go into your regular Google Classroom account, it looks like you didn't turn it in from 1114.
Okay, so they're actually turned in all over the place.
Okay, that's weird.
Well, okay, because the thing is I was turning them in on my phone, but then my phone broke, so I've been turning them in through my mom's phone and through my computer. And they're for some yeah, so
Okay. Do you remember? Let's see, let's check this one. Oh, this is just grammar. So that's not a good example. Let me go back.
yeah, because the grammar ones are on my mom's phone.
Okay, so let's use this as an example. I have not graded this one yet, but let me try something here. This one should be. Okay, this one is the Odysseus and the Cyclops. So I'm going to, wait, cancel that. I'm going to add a comment here. I'm going to say, great first sentence. Oops, if I can spell it right. Comment. And now just for practice, I'm going to give you a 10 out of 10 on this. And I'm going to return it. And now I want you to go to your email.
Okay.
And look for an email from me that says graded homework 1120.
Oh, yeah, it says it. I got
Okay,
it.
so click on that and then click open. And then tell me if you can see my comment.
Okay. I don't see it right now, but I think everything's still. Oh, there, I do see it.
Awesome. Okay, so if you go to your email and then click open, and then you can find it from there.
Yeah, and then I have to just hit the thing that I sent. Okay.
Okay.
My worry. Okay, because when I do it, when I send it in, then I can't type on it anymore. So I was worried that I wouldn't be able to type on it.
Yeah, so you can't, that's true. Once you turn it in, you can't type on it until I give it back to you, and then you can type on it.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So do you know how to make a copy of a document? Do you know how to do that?
Like just you have to paste and copy.
Actually you can, let me show you. I think it'll let me on yours. I think. Because
Wait.
it's not my original, but there should be.
Never mind.
Oh, okay.
I thought this was a different one. I forgot to rename this one. I noticed that after I sent it in, and then I tried to name it and I couldn't.
Yeah, okay, because you'd already turned it in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Forgot to
So
change
you can rename that. I was going to show you something. Let me, while you're working on that, let me see if I
it.
can
think
show
showed
you.
me. I think I know what you're talking about. My mom knows what it is because you showed her with
To make a
singing.
copy.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see though if I can find something here for you. Do you have to go or do you have a minute?
No, I have a minute.
Okay. Let me see if I can find one. Oh, okay. Well, I pulled it up. Okay, so let me share my screen so you can see what I'm looking at. Okay. So I just went to a new tab. I have a ton of tabs open right now, but basically I went to a new tab. And then up here, do you see where I have my little icon? It has my picture.
Yeah.
And then Gmail and all that. If you go to this grid right here, it says Google Apps. It's called a waffle.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you go to your docs down here.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I have yours here, so I can pull up your Google Doc. And here's the one you're working on right now. You can even see your own name on it, and you can see my name on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you go up here to file, you can make a copy. And the reason why I'm showing you that is because then you can make a copy before you turn it in, so you can still work on it. Even while you're waiting for me. And then when you turn in your fixed copy, it's different than your original. So there's two different ones. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Because if you make a copy, you can name it something else. Like you can put, well, it's calling it copy of Paisley Donnell, but you can call it, Odysseus part 2 or something like that. And then you would click make a copy, and then you have your own that you can keep working with.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Okay. Okay, cool. Good. Okay, so I will be making more comments on your homework, especially for this week, and look out for those, and then change the things I tell you to change. Make a copy first, and then change the things that you need to change, and then resubmit it for the next week. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And let me know if you have any questions. Okay, Paisley.
Okay.
All right. Well, have fun. And it's not too much homework this week, so you should be okay while you're on vacation. So,
Yeah. Thank you.
okay, you're welcome. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.